Curtis Samuel was one of my favorite buy low candidates this offseason. I think I have 33% rostered in my drafters fantasy best ball tournament. I have over 150 teams drafted from there, and 33% of them had Curtis Samuel there. He was going in the 15th, 16th, 17th rounds, and just the talent profile was phenomenal. Former second round pick out of Ohio State, 99th percentile 40-yard dash, 92nd percentile speed score. This was a guy who could do it all. When he was Carolina 2 years ago, he had the second most touches among all wide receivers. So carries plus receptions. If we look back on in 2020, he was the wide receiver 27 in fantasy points per game. Right now, he is the wide receiver 19 in fantasy points per game. Things have slowed down a little bit over the last few weeks. He did start hot. He finished as the wide receiver 13 and 12, weeks 1 and 2, but it's kind of, his production has fallen off a little bit. Teams are, I think, prepping for him a little bit more now that they know that Carson Wentz likes to throw him the ball. Still, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Curtis Samuel has not had fewer than 7 targets in each of the first 5 weeks. He's had 4 red zone targets through 5 weeks. He's scored 2 touchdowns. If he scores a touchdown, he's probably a top 15 wide receiver on the week just based on the volume. And he's a volume wide receiver. Like, if we look at his metrics, he's getting a 22% target share, 22% target rate. He's running 95% of the routes. He's playing a lot of slot snaps. He's dominating out of the slot, which he's got a low ADOT. His average depth of target, 4.5 yards. There are 98 wide receivers in the NFL who have a higher average target distance, and he has the 88th air yards share. Wide receiver 88 in air yards. He is not being targeted down the field at all. This might be a dink and dunk game in Chicago. Now, do I want to get carried away? No, I don't. But as you notice, I have Curtis Samuel ranked 1 spot above Terry McLaurin for this week because I think that this is the volume argument. His yards after catch, he's 10th in the NFL. He's 6th in receptions. They are force feeding him the ball. And maybe to make up for lost time, right? Last year, 2021, Curtis Samuel only played in 5 games. He only had 9 targets, 6 receptions. He finished with 2 fantasy points per game. Now he's averaging 15 fantasy points per game. So, I do think that, once again, this is one of the lowest over-unders on the week. Thursday night football games tend to be a little bit lower scoring, but the volume's still going to be there for Curtis Samuel, which is why I want to keep him as a fringe wide receiver too. Definitely a flex consideration. And if he scores a touchdown, he's going to be in that high-end wide receiver 2 conversation.